Alright, what's up, yins guys? Time for another video. And if loud trucks quit messing up my video when I'm trying to talk. But anyway, yeah, yins guys, time for another video. And as I promised, part of the subject matter I was going to do in another video. But yeah, people raising the stink about Donald Trump in the debate. They're talking about how the illegal immigrants are snagging and eating people's cats and dogs. Here's my take on that. Even though I can't stand Harris, and this is about her too, even though I can't stand Harris, I will say Donald Trump was kind of out of place in debates to talk about that. That wasn't the place for it. But I'm gonna talk to you about how I'm laughing about this because how Harris is so naive. She's very naive. And when I go into this, I got I could talk all day about, I can give you a lot of YouTubers that I'm into, that I watch. And yeah, and Harris saying Donald Trump is referring to fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter and, well, geez, a lot of these horror movies, I hate to tell you, were based on some stuff that really happened, not totally in detail, but they did change it and borrow from. But, and I'm not saying every immigrant is bad, everybody Chinese, everybody Mexican, or anybody, but way before the internet, I'm going to start with telling you some things that I remember. There were people that got caught. It was on our local TV news way before me and my partner got together when I was still working in a particular industrial park. No internet. About 20 plus years ago, it made the news. A couple Chinese places got shut down. Guy got caught because there was cats in the fridge. And a lot of people don't like Chinese because they say, oh, every single person is Chinese. You're probably eating somebody's cat. I mean, I don't want to say they're all like that, but it has happened. And not against anybody's country. There are good and bad people in all countries, but you look at the hell up. It ain't right. I'm not saying it's right to talk up, stereotype every single person. But yeah, in the cultures of other countries, we talk about it all the time. In other countries, it's acceptable to eat cat and dog or whatever right now. And medieval times, the cats catch the mice, right? But the stories about, then too many cats, people reluctantly did eat them, and dogs and everything else for whatever reasons, you know what I mean? What was that? Somebody said, if I'm correct or not, that they used cat guts or whatever to make violin strings. And yeah, you remember the old Bugs Bunny cartoon with Tweety Bird and Sylvester? There was a one episode, if you will, threatens them, you touch a Tweety Bird, I'm going to send you to the violin string factory or whatever. But anyway, yeah, that shit still goes on, people. And it's kind of funny, our country, the United States and other countries, it's kind of funny how we got laws that you're not allowed to eat certain things. And you can hunt and kill, in our country, you can hunt and kill rabbits to eat, and then you can even buy rabbits in a store that are just like, same way people buy chicken, right? But then there's rabbits and pets, and we have laws that you can get in trouble and go to jail for having a rabbit in your house, like say turning it loose because they won't survive in the wild. And a pet rabbit, I mean, if you sort of get caught, there are laws from state to state that you can hunt and kill a rabbit, with a hunting license, but you have a pet rabbit. And then we're not allowed to eat cat. And then there's countries that, yeah, we eat cows, we raise them to eat and everything, but it's against their religion or whatever to kill or eat a cow. Then I watched Jeremy Wade and River Monsters about, like, those Hindus, you don't catch and kill catfish. And yeah, the catfishes eat people because people throw people's remains in the water, There's no burials there, and catfish eat the remains, and you can be alive crossing in that water, and them catfish go after you, know what I mean? Weird things about the food chain and everything there, too. Anyway, you got laws, like, say, in our country, you can eat certain kind of animals, but then we have laws in here we don't eat cat or dog, but then other people in the country are like looking at us like we're crazy, and everything because we don't, and even though I regard it as out of place for Trump to say that in a debate, I kind of agree, but Harris is very naive, and anybody who supports the left, they think the government's going to take care of you if there was a collapse. And I believe in, watch different people, doomsday preppers, different kind of people, but I have doubts to a certain extent how many people are going to survive if there's a collapse. Some of them be going off to the hills, but there'll be a lot of people turning on each other, and there'll be a power struggle too, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'll tell you some things that movies I grew up that influenced me in a minute, but it's like people who support Harris and, want to belittle Trump over that he said, even though he shouldn't have said it there like that. And I'm saying not every single person from another country is like that, but it's like I explained. What makes Harris naive as hell is, okay, we're not hoping for a collapse, but if anything happens someday, a lot of people, different religions and Christians, whether you're Islamic, whether you're a different kind of religion in the world, there's something, everybody has their own thing about the end of the world that can happen. And it's happened before, and, like George Carlin talked about it, okay, in one of his clips. You can go on YouTube, look up what if, he talked about what if we lose electricity. All we'd have to do is lose electricity. Just look it up. And even though he was a comedian, he said exactly right. Henry Rollins, in his Everything spoken word you can buy on CD, he talked about that there'd be bodies in dumpsters and people making things out of human skin. I'm wondering if he ever was watched that movie called The Road. But anyway, my point is, you hope none of that shit ever happens, but anyway, that shit has happened already. Collapses, through history, and people turned on each other and ate each other. I mean, it's not very far-fetched. Oh, let's see, some YouTubers I watch do everything. A YouTuber called What Lurks Beneath, Mr. Ballin, and quite a few people. Okay, I'll give you some things to look in videos of the titles, okay, that I see on YouTube. Let's see, and not stereotyping anybody in any country either. We want to go into this. I told you, all races, I get belittled for this all the time by smart-ass brats over there on the left. Did I say, there's good and bad in all races, and I says doesn't mean the race is evil. But, okay, yeah, I say, well, yeah, white people had Ted Bundy, gay people had Jeffrey Dahmer, black people had Edward Surratt hanging over their head. Well, they weren't all cannibals, some of them were, but they were serial killers, put it that way. That's my point. And even other parts of the world, look, yeah, like there was, let's see, which country should I start? Okay, some of my seen in YouTube videos that you can look up. It was some of them in Amazing Top 10s. Okay, Morocco. There was a woman that got mad because her fiancé decided to marry another woman when he promised to meet her. So her and her brother, recruited her brother, killed him, right? And then chopped him up and then used a blender too, I guess, flushed the rest of the parts away or whatever the hell, and fed him to, prepared the food, his remains, in the same way you'd prepare any other kind of traditional meal, and fed the meat, aka him, to a bunch of Pakistani construction workers under the guise of goodwill, and she supposedly was caught because there was a bit of a bone or a tooth in a blender or something, and then she was caught. Then a woman in Australia got mad at her boyfriend or husband uh, seduced him, to act like they're making up, stabbed him to death, and then skinned him. Well, I guess she had a career in butchery or whatever too, like or whatever, a butcher shop or something. I'm saying this from memory. You look up the details if you guys are into that. Australia, anyway. And he, I'm not. This ain't funny, but she kills him and everything else, and goes and skinned them. Had his skin hanging up like it was preparing leather, and then prepared a bunch of plates on the table for the kids, and was going to feed him to the kids. And well, they found out he didn't go to work, he's missing, and the cops looked in and they found a blood trail. Anyway, there's a detail in there. I mean, if they didn't cannibalize themselves or whatever, if they didn't do the cannibalizing yourself. Oh, and then let's jump back to New York. One of the YouTubers, I want to say it's what lurks beneath, or Mr. Bolin, one of them, if you want to look up, I think you can type it in the search. Put in the search, he killed her and fed her to the homeless. You can type that in. But anyway, in New York, okay, woman, I guess she was from England or something, what country it was, and she come here on some dance scholarship or some kind of scholarship for college. Became this guy's girlfriend, live-in girlfriend, but the ex-girlfriend wasn't having it, so she told him to kill her or whatever. But anyway, the ex-girlfriend told him to do it, so he had a history of actually preparing chicken soup, going to the park over there and feeding the homeless. But, so, okay, this ex-girlfriend, it was supposedly history, she was mad at him and she told him to go, and he went for it or whatever too. No, you can't have another girlfriend, you gotta kill her. So he killed her, right? Cut her up, cooked her up, flushed parts down the toilet, and fed her to the homeless. Okay. And and that dovetails into, okay, all kind of people in other countries that still practice cannibalism. Parts of Papua New Guinea ain't totally abolished. They say it is, but it's not. And, well, you had stories about the drug cartels. They were killing their rivals and sending them the mutilated pieces in buckets. Then there were a couple of stories you were hearing about them in initiation, or for intimidation purposes, they were telling their people to eat the parts of the, I'm just talking about human nature and everything else. So you got that, and then, okay, even though some people don't like the Vice YouTube channel or anything that comes from Vice, there was, let's see, look up the video, The Cannibal Warlords of Liberia. And you want to say if that stuff is fake. I'm surprised somebody like a YouTube channel like Vice, that everybody says is so liberal and say a bunch of leftists, but which they're inflating Antifa like there's something to be reckoned with. They're trolling us to a certain point, trying to say Antifa's some big thing. But I'm surprised a lot of the bad things that a lot of the people on the right talk about, Vice would actually, instead of sticking under the rug, Vice really, in my opinion, put some really scary shit out there that's a fact. And even though some people say Vice is more like for the left and liberal, but yeah, they talked about some pretty gruesome shit, where people go and have, like in Liberia, it become pretty much hellhole. And you want to talk in parentheses about things on, even though in the History Channel, also known as the Ancient Aliens Channel at this particular time, if you ever looked at for the entertainment, Life After People. Don't think for 1 minute, California on its way there, if things get bad all over the world, it'll turn into another Dark Ages. And like it was indicated in that movie, The Road, even though it's a fictitious movie, I quite frankly think it's more accurate than them bandwagon Left Behind videos that the overly domesticated church people act like it's a fact. Yeah, the Antichrist is named Nikolai. Get the hell out of here with that. I'm not trying to bash every Christian, but I've made other videos in the past about how some of these overly domesticated, real far-right Christians that are in overly domesticated neighborhoods that look down on some people that are Christian and actually swear like ghetto sailors once in a while, or ghetto truck drivers or whatever. Oh yeah, you can't believe in Jesus Christ and be like that. I mean, but yet they actually think that movies on Left Behind is a fact, like it's accurate revelation. I mean, there's some apocalyptic movies, like maybe like the movie like The Road, which was at the end of that movie was a very happy, sad movie. That young boy actually, father dies and yet he finds a new family. You know, it's pretty good in respect. But you got this far in the video. Let's see what I grew up with as a kid, along with old horror movies. That, yeah, even the low budget British horror movies that were before we even had all these cable TV channels that were on. You know what I mean? But I grew up with, let's see, along with, you know, the old Bible movies that were around as a kid, like Moses, the Charlton Heston, and Yul Brynner played Ramses. Well, geez, the guy that played Ramses, the late Yul Brynner, also played an apocalyptic movie as a kid, along with being influenced by Christian movies. The late Yul Brynner, who played Ramses next to Charlton Heston in the Ten Commandments movie, The Ultimate Warrior. And we're not talking about the wrestler, The Ultimate Warrior. I'm talking about The Ultimate Warrior, the movie. The late Yul Brynner played in, was it a post-apocalyptic novel? People of these days, the doomsday preppers and the far-right people, would be criticizing that movie. Oh, there's no guns in that movie. Yeah, a lot of ammo. In my opinion, that old movie stands because too many gunplay in that movie, and in that movie distracts from the plot. You know, let's see, Yul Brynner guarding a compound there, you know, civilization fell, you know, gangs, everybody out for themselves. Let's see, in the late Max von Sydow was playing the Baron, the guy who was the leader of the whole group, keeping everybody together, so to speak. And the late also died. The late William Smith played the bad guy who wanted their water, their well, and their food, and wanted to take over their compound and everything else. And one guy in there that was one of the good guys that played the son of the late Max von Sydow. His character, right, found a way to grow vegetables, and he had the last seeds on Earth, and the Baron wanted to protect the seeds, so the Baron hatched a plan, you know, to get Yul Brynner and all them, Yul Brynner and the wife and all that stuff, and the guy who was growing the seed gets killed. But I don't want to tell. I'm getting into telling you about the whole movie, but anyway, I got a little carried away there, you know, telling you about the whole movie. That's for another video, but you know, they wanted to go somewhere else and get away, you know, and so they can grow seeds, you know. These are the last seeds of civilization and all that, and the bad guys were after them and all that, you know. I went too much into the movie, but I grew up with that, along with the Charlton Heston, you know, Ten Commandments. And then you go up here in the news, some pretty bad things as a kid in the news. Okay, later on, I grow up to be a teenager. I hear about on the Mexican border there, Adolfo Constanzo and the satanic murders. He was luring people there, was selling them drugs and murdering these people and everything else. You know, that shit happens. Yeah, we got a lot of other, you know, really gruesome cults, you know, in so many places that engage in everything but from cannibalism to everything else. We hear all kind of stuff on the news, but yet they try to say, oh, there's no such thing as these things. That's based on nothing but fictional characters. So, before I get off the track off the subject, I'm kind of taking it in all kind of directions, but I'm giving you all kind of categories of things that's going on that, yeah, if I bring this back into what I was saying in the beginning, yeah, Donald Trump did say stuff about, yeah, they're eating people's pets and everything. Yeah, I regard that as being out of place in the debate. That was no place to say that, but that doesn't mean it ain't happening, and that does not mean that just because somebody doesn't mean everybody of that of a different race is like that. But yet in other countries it's going on. Everything from cannibalism, and I say another thing. Some countries it's acceptable to eat certain animals that will get arrested for eating around here, and it's like yeah, there's a culture differential, if you will. I mean, you can get somebody that comes from another country, open a restaurant over here. They know, or somebody should tell them it's against the law to eat certain animals here. But some of them knew damn well, and they sneak and do it anyway. And there were, like I said, it made our news. Chinese restaurants and maybe even Filipino restaurants, different things. They got caught. I don't know, health inspector surprise visits. So it's not too far-fetched. I'm trying to be fair here with that shit. You know what I mean? Yes, it does go on. I mean, but if only the people who worship Kamala Harris, how it would get, if anything ever collapse, which you hope it don't. But like I said, in Dark Ages, medieval times, people have done it. You know what I mean? And look what sailors did, too, when they were way out in the ocean and all that, and they were going to starve to death, too. Not too far-fetched anyway, but people all over the world. I covered a couple different subjects, everything from serial killers to cannibalism to people eating animals in this country that's not acceptable to eat in this country. Give you a ballpark idea about human nature. And I got to say to you, what is worse? Putting it out there and making people paranoid and talking about it too much? Or is the worst thing just totally deny and act like it, oh, there's no such thing, it never happens anywhere? Really? That's such a thing that doesn't really go on and don't exist? I mean, you're either naive, crazy, or willfully ignorant, but... And I tell you again, just because somebody comes from other countries, yeah, they're not all like that, but the shit is happening, you know what I mean?